Greetings, Mech Warriors, and welcome to the MercStar Invitational Charity Event, a 12v12 matchup between two powerhouses, Seraphim Rising Storm and Imperial. This should be some pretty exciting stuff. Looking forward to the drops that we're going to have here. As you might notice, I am flying solo today. My co-caster has abandoned me horribly for a convention in Maryland. So, thank you, MD. But I put him up there in spirit, so hopefully he'll keep that spot nice and warm for his return. Yeah, I mean, 12v12, very interesting rule set. Really looking forward to see what we can see tonight. I played my match yesterday for this. Didn't quite turn out how I had hoped, but it was still good combat nonetheless. I have not played competitive since, I guess, December. So, jumping right back on the horse after about 3 months or so. It was got the heart racing, that's for sure, and that's why I love playing competitive, man. You got the adrenaline rush, the excitement of victory, and the crushing, soul-wrenching defeats. So we had some really, really intense, close matches, and that was definitely fun. So Imperial, we haven't seen in quite some time in terms of structured comp. I believe the last time I saw them play was in the Major League Mech Warrior tournament, cash tournament. They weren't in MRBC the last season or anything like that, so this will be the first time that we've seen them in an actual structured competitive match. And definitely everybody, I think, is interested to see what they can bring to the table. They are definitely a powerhouse team. A lot of people would say they're favored. There was a straw poll put up on Reddit that was pretty close, though. I think people are definitely putting a lot of stock in what Seraphim Rising Storm has to bring to the table. So hopefully it'll be a nice close one, because all of us shoutcasters really do enjoy, and I'm sure all of you viewers really enjoy a nice close, tough match. And I don't think there's any reason we shouldn't have that. Let me see here. We are going to be doing our first match on River City. And let me go ahead and bring up the rule set on the screen. So, all of the matches that are going to be played tonight have to have at least 6 Inner Sphere and 6 Clan Mechs. There's no exceptions whatsoever throughout this entire tournament. The other rule is that there has to be, or can be, up to 2 of each chassis. So, you can't have like 3 of one mech or anything like that. Strikes will be allowed. And the matches will bounce back and forth between a tonnage maximum and like a 3-3-3-3 or something like that. So, nice, healthy mix. Everything will be fought on Conquest tonight, so we should see, especially with the 12v12s, a lot of little side skirmishes. So I'll do my best to make sure I am able to catch all of the interesting stuff going on all over the place. You might notice the different sounds. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but Bandit was playing with some sound packs. I was super stoked about that. One of my favorite Mech Warrior games, got a little bit of love in that regards. But both teams are getting into the lobbies already, readying up slowly. So I guess one thing that I do want to throw out there is that this is, in fact, a charity streams, charity event, and we do definitely want to bring attention to the efforts, I guess, to raise donations to help fight against multiple sclerosis. I know that that kind of hits a little bit home for me personally and my wife, of course. We have a family member who is fighting MS. So definitely, if you guys find it in your hearts to try and help against that, we have a command in the chat that will be used throughout the day, and it will have the link to the donation page. So definitely feel free to go in there and donate. I'm sure it's tax deductible or something like that. It usually is. I was able to claim it on my taxes last time I did it, so. But yeah, I mean, definitely head over there and give it a look. Uh, also, we are on a 5-minute stream delay, so that's to preserve the integrity of the match. So it's going to be tough to interact with me in chat. My mod is watching out, though, and hopefully he'll be able to pass around some of the information as necessary. But if I do make any changes or something, you won't see it happen for 5 minutes. I changed around my audio setup a little bit here. I got the mic kind of over here now, lowered the gain, so hopefully the audio is a little bit cleaner, less background noise and stuff like that. But always looking for feedback in terms of the levels, if I'm too loud, too quiet, things like that. And I do want to start up some of that beautiful background music just to have something in the background here, so let's get that started as well. Nice and quiet in the background. If that's too loud for anybody, please let me know. It's going to be a slow run up there. So, alright, well, River City 12v12 Conquest. I've seen some interesting stuff from this. I feel a lot of mid-range poke. I think Brawl can definitely be effective here. Seeing a lot of fighting over Theta. One team seems to have a pretty good overwatch over Theta at the start. So it's really tough to contest that from the other side. But both teams have the ability to move wherever the hell they feel like. And so I don't know what to expect. I mean, every single time I've seen a 12v12 River City, I've seen something different. But it really seems to be a lot of really fast movement and then committing and things like that. This is Conquest, so I don't think we're going to see an ER large laser standoff here. It just wouldn't make sense. You'd be giving up 3, if not 4, cap points to stand there and hopefully get a kill. I just don't see it happening. So expect to see some close-in combat. It might be over quick. Time to kill is very low in 12v12s, especially if everybody's together. So it's sometimes tough to catch up to some of the kills that do occur, but I'll do my best to catch all of the action and still bring in some of the side skirmishes and stuff that we don't want to miss. The stuff that light mechs do on the corners really does make a big difference, and I don't want to miss any of that if possible. I am, of course, flying solo today, so that does kind of limit me, and it's nice having 2 people that can have the eyes on the battlefield and say, oh, well, this is happening over here right now, and then I can go catch up to that. So if I do miss anything, bear with me, but I will certainly do my best, and hopefully we go through an entire stream without any overlay issues. I've been practicing. So, almost got everybody readied up here. Sace, thank you for the follow. 5 minutes ago. Let me bring up this. And let's go ahead and just look at that map. So this is, of course, the new River City. We've had a lot of time to cruise around this map lately, but they've really opened it up. A lot of room to move around and stuff like that. So many options of where to go. And, of course, across the river itself, they've added that new G-line dock area with the big containers and stuff that can really cover approaches pretty well. So you can pretty much go wherever the hell you want on this map, but you're not going to be able to do it completely obscured from view, especially with scouts running around. Somebody's going to know where you are, and you got to be ready to commit to wherever the battle actually happens. So it's nice having a plan going into this, but it can fall apart really, really quick if you're not careful. I speak from experience. So, looks like we are going to go ahead and get started. Let's head in. I can't wait for some spectator tool improvements. It's going to be so great. Anything that they could do to this, short of breaking it, of course, would be a massive improvement and giant quality of life increase for us shoutcasters. So let's take a look. I don't think I want the event screen on this one. Alright, so everybody is going to be coming in on their dropships, but I'm going to go ahead and fire up all of the necessary overlays. And if you're wondering about the stuttering for the arrows and the name tags, I am going to leave those up. It was since last patch, the refresh rate of the UI has decreased to try and save frame rate. Unfortunately, that's caused this little bit of a stutter. It's not on my end, it's just straight up, that's how it is. But I'm going to leave it up because it does definitely make it a lot easier to call what's happening. So I've got Slummy in a medium pulse, Blackjack 1X. So we got some Streaks and a Stormcrow. Streaks and a Stormcrow, most likely for anti-light duty then. Red, of course, is Imperial. They do have the upper city side of the map, and they are moving up into Epsilon, capturing Epsilon, and looks like they're moving to get some overwatch from this region to see what Rising Storm is doing. Now, Rising Storm has a clump of guys over here chilling in the tunnels. That is curious. We got a pretty sizable, dangerous force here. SRMs, 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 medium pulse, medium laser, medium pulse, medium pulse. So we got a pretty damn good brawl team here. It does have a little bit of range capabilities, but they are waiting, and they're going to pounce at some point. So when is that going to be? I think they are baiting them into Theta. Imperial is taking the bait. They are moving down to start challenging Theta against some of the Overwatch quick draws that are tossing some shots across the water. Is this going to work? Looks like Rising Storm is on the move. They are leaving the tunnels. Can they go without getting seen? If they can close the distance even halfway without being seen, this is going to be a gigantic maneuver right here. I am super excited to see how this pans out. The Overwatch mechs are getting charged, but here we go. The first shots have been fired from the Brawl group. They are pounding into the side of Imperial's charge. Can they get the focus fire where they need? The Overwatch mechs are starting to fall at this point, but here come the Brawlers. They are jumping on the Griffin 3M. Lots of shots into Rick Rom. He's going to go down relatively quickly. Two of the Rising Storm mechs have gone down, but those were pretty early drops. Rick Rom is still alive with 17%. He does go down, but another Rising Storm mech goes down in the process. They have switched. They need to keep their focus. If they start to spread their damage, they're going to go down hard. A lot of Rising Storm mechs taking incredible amounts of damage at this point. It's hard to say who the actual focus is. Only one Imperial mech is down. I think the heart was in the right place, but as soon as that first mech went down, the focus kind of went all over the place, and Imperial definitely did a good job just putting their shots on target and systematically taking down Rising Storm one by one. I think a lot of credit has to go to Rick Rom and the amount of time that he was able to keep his mech alive, tanking down to 17% before I saw him fall. In the process, Rising Storm losing 3 mechs. That is a really, really rough deficit to come back from. So a very good quality brawl, but that does go in favor of Imperial 2 to 12. So very well done, very well done. Let's bring up the scoreboards here. Incredibly low damage from most of Imperial, and I really think that that goes to show how well they were putting their shots on target. In a 12v12, when you see a spread like this, they're not shooting arms and shit like that. They're landing their shots exactly where it needs to go, and they're doing it very, very well. So, excellent, solid brawl from them. Next map coming up here is going to be Caustic Valley. Drop 2. Well, that was certainly one hell of a brawl, and to have that many mechs alive on EMP still, really a testament to how well they were able to keep their mechs alive. And Rising Storm, once they got into it, it must have been difficult to bring it back in and start focusing on anything. I saw a massive percentage spread on EMP's mechs. All over the place. It seemed like everybody was just shooting whatever they could, and unfortunately EMP was already on a roll after taking out the Rising Storm Overwatch mechs. They were basically 12 brawlers versus 10 brawlers at that point, and they were able to call a target and see that target killed every single time. You rarely saw a Rising Storm mech under 90% unless it was being killed. So definitely, I mean, I'm kind of John Maddening it a little bit, but really it came down to the focusing of each mech one at a time, and every time a target was called, it went down within seconds. That is the key to a brawl victory. Absolutely. So, Imperial takes the first one, so they are up by 1. This is the, I guess, preliminary qualifier round, so they will play all 5 drops because they earn 1 point per drop. So in the end, all the points get added up. The top 3 teams from each of the 2 groups will move up to the final bracket. So no matter what, both teams are going to be playing out as hard as they can for as many points as they can. Awesome. Good to see we got a nice crowd out there today. I hope you guys are enjoying it. And thank you, SJR Effects and John Dunbar, for the follows. Welcome to the crew. Let me see if I can get my instant replay going. That was a really, I mean, the strategy that was being used by Rising Storm had a lot of heart. I was really rooting for it to be one of those, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened type of strategies. It had a lot of promise. Unfortunately, though, losing the Overwatch mechs is rough. Reset size. And drag that sucker down. There, that should be good. So, alright, I'm just going to rewind this just a little bit here. So, we had Rising Storm waiting in the tunnels. Imperial challenged Theta, started chasing the Overwatch mechs off of Theta. I think Overwatch could have probably done a little bit better job once they realized Imperial was committing to the charge. Could have gotten out of there a little bit quicker, because those mechs essentially did absolutely nothing. They were there as bait, and they did nothing. They went down fairly quick. Now, this looked really promising, jumping on Rick Rom here. This looked really good. I don't know why a couple of these guys went off to the left side, and then just watch Rick Rom's percentage. 44, 32, 29. He's still alive. 17, 3 Rising Storm mechs dead, and then a 4th immediately after, followed by a 5th immediately after. In the time it took to kill 1 Imperial mech. Not a good sign. Look at the percentages from Imperial that I'm seeing here compared to the percentages for Rising Storm. 97%, you know, now they're starting to get shredded down a little bit, but they were all mostly over 90%. And then you've got 84, 86, 49, 87, 67, 76, 90, 71, 98, 86, and 49. I mean, that's such a roller coaster of health that, I mean, just like I was saying before, man, it focus. So if I was gonna say, okay, do that again and see what happens, get the Overwatch out of there quicker so they're not completely shredded down. They needed to bail out as soon as they realized that Imperial was charging in. They needed to get out. maybe deeper into the city, maybe curve around to the dropship, maybe try and get around to Citadel. I don't know. They needed to get out of there because they were just tonnage dead on the ground before the brawl even started. I almost think that the charge through water out of tunnels, well, it looked really cool, gave them a very long charge up. Now, it took them a while to realize they were there. They almost would have been better off not even firing a damn shot on the run up, because I don't know if Imperial even knew that Rising Storm was charging up through water, because that was a pretty slick maneuver. Then they started throwing some SRMs, some medium range lasers, kind of at the extent of their range, and you know, not sure whether that weapon fire even actually accomplished anything, to be perfectly honest. But would if they went the other way and then went into the city, would it have been better? Or if they were hiding in the city closer to their Overwatch, so Overwatch runs through them and then they hit them? Because I feel like the intention was to hit them from behind, and they kind of did that. But it didn't feel like a jump on them that you know I would have considered being advantageous to them. I think it was just essentially a delayed brawl, and all Imperial had to do is literally just kill the two guys in front of them and then just kind of turn and brawl like normal, except now Rising Storm's down 2 mechs. So I guess that's the way I feel. It's hard to tell without being in the comms when did they realize that, oh my gosh, they're coming at us from the side. You know, it's really tough to say. It's really tough to say. AC-10, 4 SRM-4s. That's pretty brutal in a Shadowhawk, man. That hurts. But good effort, though, by Rising Storm. You know, that one, I don't think this is necessarily a testament of, like, one team's overall skill versus the other completely yet. It might have been just the weird strat throwing things for a loop. So I'm excited to see going into Caustic Valley what both teams bring to the table. They're both readying up at this point. Thunderwake, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the crew. Both teams readying up, and we'll be heading into Caustic Valley. Now, this one is no longer a tonnage drop. This is going to be a 4422, so a much lighter drop. Gimpy 21, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the crew. 4 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults. So not a lot of tonnage on the field. A lot of potential for some outlier conquest skirmishing. It could just devolve into an outright brawl, or they could go maybe what we've seen from SJR in the past, work in the conquest a little bit more. Won't know until we get in there. So both teams looking pretty damn even on the total tonnage. So will we see like a lot of different mechs making up those, or are we going to go pure meta? I guess we'll find out. I mean, hell, they're freaking reinventing meta as we go here. Patch on Tuesday. Interested to see what they break and what they fix. And super excited for the demoing of, what is it, 1v1, 2v2, and 4v4 maps. Untextured, of course. They're just purely to get some feedback on the layout and stuff like that to see whether it would work for something like Solaris. So, I do plan on streaming, potentially, some of my team just dicking around on the maps and stuff. So definitely tune back in here. Let's see if we can fix that. So, alright, let's get started. Caustic Valley, can't see past my microphone, it's gigantic. Looking forward to the changes that they're going to make on this map as well. Hopefully get rid of some of them stinking pebbles that I keep getting stuck on. That would be absolutely fantastic. So, let's head into the match. So I don't know what to expect here. Straight up brawl, some medium range poke, fighting around the Caldara over Theta. One team setting up, for like a 3 spread on the outside, conceding Theta to the other team. Anything can happen. Anything can happen. There's no one best strat here, in my opinion. That's important to say, in my opinion. So they will be coming in on the dropship shortly. So on the Imperial side, I am saying Mauler, 90X, Enforcer 4R, ER large, ER medium from the lights. They have adders. Blackjack 1X, Blackjack 1X. By the way, it is interesting that they brought adders. Now, you got to keep in mind, it is a 5AC5 Mauler. Nice. It is a 6 clan 6 IS requirement, so the adders may be filling a role that would normally be an IS mech, and that's totally fine. So we're getting a lot of ER large exchanges from Imperial over to Rising Storm, who seems to be shifting for the most part over to Epsilon. Now let's take a look at what we've got over on the Rising Storm side in terms of loadouts. I've got some Gauss Fire. We got a Timber here, Gauss Large Pulse Gauss, Medium Pulse Lasers. So it looks to me like, just at a glance, that perhaps Rising Storm is a little bit of a shorter range team than Imperial. So that means at some point they're going to need to get into their weapon ranges. In terms of percentages, so far, 2 of the Rising Storm players have fallen below 90%. Only 1 on Imperial has fallen over, but for the most part, from both teams, it's been relatively scratch damage. Valkyrie's kind of caught out over here. He doesn't really have anywhere he can go, and he's peeking aggressively around this left side, and he's going to pay for it. That maneuver over to the left definitely cost him there. He really got ahead of his team, and they weren't able to back him up. He was being shot from both sides of the rock. Pretty rough losing a mech that early on without dealing as much to Imperial. So they are continuing their rotation basically under a hail of fire from the Imperial mechs up in the Caldara. Some of them are rotating around to the left, getting into their ER medium range, but it looks like they're going to start fighting up the hill. We're finally going to see Rising Storm getting a little bit more into their large pulse range. Can they do something? Now, we've got the Imperial Arctic Cheetah coming danger close into the rear here, doing some work against the Stalker, who was a little bit late to the party. Down to 59%. Bowser definitely took a lot of hits there. J-Bombs in the Timber down to 40%. This crew coming around the left is doing some significant damage and could easily take J-Bombs here without really being challenged at all by Rising Storm. They are focused up the hill on this trade, and it's not looking too good for them. Imperial does have some hurt mechs, but we just lost the second one and are about to lose a third and potentially a fourth for Rising Storm. This curve around on the backside has done a lot of work. These mechs are relatively damaged, but we're getting quickly towards the end of this exchange. They are plugging away at the rest of the Rising Storm mechs hiding behind that rock, and we're going to have a last stand from the Rising Storm mechs that have curved around to the top of the hill. They need to start killing people fast. That Enforcer needs to go down. This is not the time for careful peeks around on one mech. You need to end him and then move on to the next one. Unfortunately, it's not looking too good for Rising Storm at this point. Down to 3 mechs remaining. They have killed 2 on the Imperial side. The third one does go down, so we have seen improvement at least from one match to the next. But here comes the final brawl push, and it will be over very quickly. So last one remaining is the fire starter. Well played yet again by Imperial. And Rising Storm is definitely going to need to work on something. They need to make a change. They can't continue at this pace for the rest of the match. Otherwise, it's not looking too good. So good luck to Rising Storm. We hope that you guys figure out what's going on. But Imperial, a very clean, systematic curving around behind and just picking off the big guys. Very well done. And of course Proton in his 5 AC, 5 Mauler, doing quite a bit of work. Getting 2 kills, 7 assists, and 515 damage. Well done by him. Twinkie, most likely in a similar build, racking the 410 there. So, but good damage spread all the way around. Brutal as hell. So, second match goes to Imperial, and we'll be moving on to HPG Manifold. HPG Manifold is a relatively controversial map. We've seen in the past a lot of working around the top of the wall and things like that. So interesting to see what we see here. Hopefully it'll be a nice. Hopefully it'll be to the advantage of Rising Storm, so they can come back and start working this back. Bargar and Mr. Spidaz, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the crew. Let's go ahead and bring up the replay. This is actually a pretty good time in the replay to do it. So, Imperial is on the move, heading up to Theta and the Caldara. They are getting a little bit of their exchange across mostly large pulses from the Stormcrow and stuff like that. We did see some ER large, and I'm sure those AC5s have a pretty decent range that can probably reach out and touch somebody with 25 damage or trigger pull. Definitely worth it. So we are seeing those ballistics flying across. Rising Storm moving relatively in the open, and kind of a half power position, half leaving your guys hanging out there kind of movement. A lot of guys seem to be taking quite a bit of unnecessary damage on the run up there, and so percentages quickly went slightly in favor of Imperial, but in favor of Imperial the same. The movement of Valkyrie Fire and the Stormcrow to that front rock, he must have been trying to just get into his weapon range, and unfortunately got swarmed from range by Imperial. Like, they were able to get a good solid pincer on him, and no matter where he went, short of even if he pressed up against the rock, there's nothing he can do. Absolutely nothing he can do, and that's going to be that's just quick work for him. So really the spreading out of the EMP mechs into the Caldara and maintaining that main hill worked really well for them, because you have no cover. You're forced to, at that point, essentially play a moving power position, and EMP punishes that kind of gameplay, especially when you don't have the weapons you need and the ranges you need to be able to return the fire effectively while on the move. After they moved behind this rock, they're essentially secluded from the guys on Caldara. There's one guy kind of coming down from there, taking a shot at the stragglers, but the Arctic Cheetahs burst into action, and here they come around the back side, start working on the Stalker, the Fire Starter. They got the Timberwolf back there that I didn't even see until right there, and he is just getting completely slammed. This is a very tight in-flanking maneuver, but those Arctic Cheetahs coming in on the backside there, along with Heimdallite in the Timberwolf, they were able to do some really quick work on those stragglers, and there's just nowhere Rising Storm can go here. They send their guys up to the front, but there's slower guys in the back, or they're guys that are just hobbled at this point. They're not going to make it, and so those guys are quickly swarmed and taken down, and so then you're in like a 6v12 fight at this point. Not a good place to be in, unfortunately. This one, I feel like, was lost very early on, just from the movement of really open terrain movement with large pulses against the ballistics and stuff from Imperial. So definitely well played. I think a lot of people aren't too surprised here. Just because we haven't seen Imperial for a while in competitive matches does not mean they haven't been practicing and are still a very tight pool of talent and can bring a lot of really powerful shooters to the field. So somebody's going to have to come up with the formula to beat those guys, because they are definitely flexing their muscle here. while we're waiting for them to form up, I could do a giveaway. I was a little bit leery about using this tool for my shoutcast, but why the hell not? If you guys got a problem with it, too bad. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and bring this up and kick out any of the...
Make sure you set your timer for like 6 minutes.
Huh?
Because of the stream delay, make sure you set your response timer for like 6 minutes.
I'm not even going to use the countdown animation for this one, just because it is a 5-minute delay. So as soon as you see it, I mean, just look out for whoever wins, so you can see whether they answer or whatever. So we're going to go ahead and pull that up, and we'll go to the giveaway screen. This is taking anybody that's in chat currently. After you see that you won, please let us know in chat that you are here, and we will send you over some premium time. Congratulations, Rithen, you are the winner. Call it out in chat at some point. And if you want to see what this looks like, I can be like, 300. Yeah, you're going to get eaten by a monster in 300 seconds, but whatever. Go ahead and let us know. I'm sure you're there, but you're also kind of, you know... Well, I guess you're not really playing, but... Either way, let us know in chat. Armored Giraffe and LP Magic, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the crew. So we are moving into HPG Manifold. Like I said, been seeing a lot of wall action, even on Conquest here. Now, the initial thought was, oh, well, they go up on the wall, then you can just take Theta and 2 points and win, because the Theta's underneath. But if you go up in the wall and you're jump jet capable and can swarm the wall and really are mobile to the point where you can go anywhere on that wall, you can control all 4 points easily. And you got people pressing up against the walls. I'm speaking from first-hand experience here. It's not fun when you're pressing up against the wall just desperately trying to avoid any fire from those Overwatch mechs. So, we'll see what those teams decide. They could very well go for straight-up brawl. They could do a gentleman's poke battle around the HPG. Who knows? They're going to decide, and you're going to see a lot of people reacting to what they see, so... This one could very well be won or lost in the mech bay. Both teams readying up and we'll be heading in shortly. Once again, if you are tuning in late, MDM0, my typical second caster, is at a convention right now, so his wonderful beard picture is simply standing in. But I am flying solo, so a little bit of a different format than what you guys are used to when it comes to my shoutcasts, because of the I guess not having someone to kind of fill in the gaps and stuff like that while I gather my thoughts. So we are heading into HPG Manifold. Here we go. Now, it always starts me over on Imperial side, which is kind of funny, but. So I'm not biased to Imperial or anything like that. They're just the first mechs I see, and I start clicking on their mechs. So here we go. And we've got, on the Imperial side, Stormcrow, ear, medium, large pulse, pretty standard, medium pulse, small, medium laser, Arctic Cheetah. I've never seen that one personally before, but what do I know? Excited to see what that one brings to the table. I'm sure everybody builds their mechs according to their personal flair. Especially, let's see, ER medium, large pulse, Gauss, ER medium. So a very mid-range, almost brawly deck from Imperial here. Now let's zoom over and take a look at Rising Storm. Now, they do have 4 Overwatch up on the wall. But they do have SRM small pulse, SRM small pulse, AC-20 SRMs, very brawly deck coming around and getting ready to fight at this door. This kind of has an air to it of what we saw on River City. So this is going to be their opportunity to see whether they can essentially clean that up. Now, a lot of big hits to Vonka here. A lot of big hits. That's brutal. This Overwatch needs to be very careful. Even though they are kind of a mid-range deck, they do still have pretty decent Gauss and stuff like that. You can't underestimate, especially this airstrike. He just got away from that one. So Overwatch is starting to move away, and we've got Imperial on Theta, and they are holding 2 points. Starting to move forward a little bit, but not really in any hurry. The Brawl team from Rising Storm has moved up and may challenge Theta. There's a possibility they could have a really one-sided fight on Theta, and Imperial, it's going to be on Imperial to mobilize quickly to get down there to back the rest of their team up. So they are now made. They know they're there. The call has been made. Here comes the charge into the manifold underneath by Theta. They've got to go quick. We're seeing all of the arrows from EMP starting to move, and EMP did the smart thing and got the hell out of there. They're not even going to play with that shit. So Theta has now switched control to Rising Storm. However, Imperial is taking this opportunity to move up into essentially door killer positions. You've got all of Rising Storm on Theta, which is good for them, because nobody's gone and captured Epsilon or Gamma yet, and there is Overwatch. You've got the big Brawl team just comfortable sitting on Theta. They don't need to leave right now. They have no reason to leave Theta, unless Imperial challenges the poke deck up there and challenges Epsilon, and that's exactly what we're seeing from Aduevo in the Arctic Cheetah. He's going to go try and get a Ninja Cap. They're overwatching him, though. They're going to make the call. It's going to be very tough to take that point 1v4 on the Overwatch. That has kind of drawn Overwatch away from watching above Theta, but not much opportunity for EMP to move. It's going to be really interesting to see the movement here, to see how they counter this. They got another mech on the other side now, trying to sneak up and maybe get into brawl range, but he's just taking scratch damage and gets knocked down. Well, that's happening. Another sneaked Epsilon. So the Rising Star Overwatch, which is down a mech now, Vonka did go down. It's on these guys to keep them from taking that point. If they take it, Theta group is going to have to move. So they brought the Adder, which seems to have some pretty good protection range, and then of course a Duevo who's hiding behind the point itself. That was a pretty good move by Imperial there to go take that point and neutralize it. So now we're rolling, you know, a little bit of a lead for Rising Storm, but you can't trust that, especially if they flip Epsilon the rest of the way. If they're fine with just neutralizing it, that's one thing, but it looks like they're going to capture Epsilon. These guys can't sit here anymore. It's just not going to work. And it looks like Imperial is bringing a couple extra shooters over to Epsilon in case they decide to come off and try and recapture Epsilon. Wouldn't be the best idea to jump down off that wall and try and do it, but they are in really bad shape up here. They're not going to be able to do this alone. So somebody downstairs is going to have to make a call, and unfortunately the advantage of the positioning is going to be in favor of Imperial here. They've got eyes on every single door. They can't roll like this for much longer. So if they just stay like this, they will lose the caps. And if you wait much longer, even if they successfully do rush out and successfully brawl EMP, which is unlikely due to the positioning discrepancy, then you've got one EMP mech that'll just run off to the corner and win on caps. So they're sitting there making their decision, but the longer they wait, the harder this job is going to be for them. They might be just waiting to see how this exchange goes, but it's going to get really bad. They're now up on the wall with them, and the Overwatch just cannot land any of their shots. And here we go. He's inside of his optimal range. Link in the BJ3 is going to go down. Not looking good. And while this is happening, things are just getting worse. They did send 2 Arctic Cheetahs finally out of the basement, being slightly chased by EMP, but they do get through relatively unscathed. In that time, though, they're still being chased down. They've lost one of their blackjacks. Let's see if these Arctic Cheetahs can turn it on this Firestarter and maybe recapture the point. That could have been a very good move. There goes one of the last Overwatch mechs. Those Arctic Cheetahs need to kill something quick. Another Arctic Cheetah, fresh as hell, joins the fight. We've got ourselves a light brawl. Unfortunately, it is now 2v4. things just got even worse for Rising Storm, if you can imagine. They're just sending their guys kind of one at a time. EMP is doing really well responding to the calls, responding to what's going on, sending the reinforcements that they need, and we're going to have 6 guys down. They did turn Epsilon back, but it's not going to do anything for them. It looks like Coburn did eventually go down, but that was a massive mech sacrifice to get to that point. That was not a good trade, unfortunately. While that was occurring, I mean, they needed to do something. They were putting too much stock into that light battle, and EMP's reinforcements of bringing in the additional light mechs sealed the deal for them. So here we are, 6-11, and it looks like the call has been made. They are going to charge out one side at a severe disadvantage because now not only are they down several light mechs and Overwatch mechs, but the light mechs for EMP can join the fight and really just focus. The amount of wait and see that we've seen here have really added to, I think, the downfall of this effort. Got kind of a back out maneuver. The first thing they'll see is a Stormcrow. He smartly backs off, makes the call to his team, and they are now going to converge. They have come in the side door. The lights have come in the side door and are getting on Theta. And here comes the big brawl. Very split. Guys going out to both sides. The two Atlases have come around. Oh, no. One on one side, one on the other. But here come the Cheetahs getting into the backfield. Bowser is completely exposed and has no help from any of his team. They are pouncing on the Blackjack on the left side here. They do take him down, and they're going to turn upfield, and the Atlas goes down. They were only able to trade the one Atlas for a Blackjack. The Timberwolf dies in the backfield, and not looking too good for Rising Storm. To put it plainly, that was rough. That was rough. Hopefully, at the very least, this is just a qualifier, so they could very well be meeting EMP again in the future, especially for the finals. So 3-0 in favor of Imperial, and at the very least, hopefully they come away with a little bit better of an idea of what they're up against here. I think the waiting is what did it. Just the waiting. I mean, I understand trying to see how something pans out, or not wanting to play your cards right off the bat or something like that, but EMP waited better because they could. You know, they didn't. Let me be clear. They waited, but they also sent their lights to go capture Epsilon, and that was huge. That turned the match with one little movement from a couple lights to not only capture Epsilon, but work down essentially 3 Overwatch mechs. They got Vonka pretty good right off the bat there too, but those lights did a lot of work. A lot of work. Gotta give them mad props. Honestly, that effort on Epsilon is what won the match for EMP. All the shit that happened after the fact was cleanup. That exchange on Epsilon is what won it for EMP. Guaranteed. And that is the kind of shit you're going to see in Conquest. Little side battles with little MVPs running around make such a gigantic difference in the grand scheme of things, even in a 12v12. And that's definitely a heartbreaker because they clearly worked hard for it, but it got away from them. Having their main group in the basement holding Theta, I don't think was a bad idea. I don't think it was a bad idea as long as they were able to maintain the 3 cap. They sent their reinforcements to Epsilon way too late. They kept them in the basement with them. I'm not sure if they were just anticipating an eventual surprise brawl from EMP into one of the doors. But I think they put too much stock in their Overwatch, thinking that they were going to be able to work down the, what was it, an adder and Cheetah and stuff like that, fire starters, all those guys that went out there. I think if they sent those 2 cheetahs outside way quicker, and maybe even because it was only like 2 mechs for a while. 3 Overwatch couldn't handle 2 lights, mainly because I mean they're zipping around and shit. It's tough to do that. But if you sent your cheetahs outside, maybe you would have enticed Imperial into the brawl, but I don't think so. I think they would have stayed in their same position and waited to see how their lights do. You almost kind of want them to come in and brawl you, to be perfectly honest. You know, that's if you could find any way by sending your 2 lights out the door, if that causes Imperial to rush in, that you now have a good strategic position advantage. Even though you don't have as many mechs, you can always recall those lights later on and stuff like that. But I think the fight over Epsilon is the entire battle here. The fight over Epsilon is what won and lost this match. And I don't know if you guys agree with me, and if anybody has any other theories on what you saw there, definitely toss it out. And once again, I have no idea what's going on in their team speak. I have no idea what's going on in their heads. This is all purely subjective, just from my outsider's view and my knowledge of, you know, comp and MWO and stuff like that. Doing my best to try and understand what's going on. But yeah, if anybody has any other opinions, feel free to let me know in chat. But as we're seeing in the replay here, this is really the Battle of Epsilon. I mean, the lights were able to take it, and not only did they take it, they stayed and held it from the outskirts. You could have seen one of the Overwatch just jump down and retake Epsilon if they didn't stay. They opted to stay, and that was huge. And eventually they even got up on the wall with the Overwatch and were able to really brawl them down effectively. Saw that little move. I don't know if you're watching the arrows, but the light mechs kind of recalled a little bit, maybe expecting, okay, they might come out now because we have Epsilon. The movement never came. So that alone, it was one of those movements from Imperial that didn't really matter because they came back ready for a brawl. The brawl didn't happen. But if the brawl did happen, I'd be talking about the fact that those lights came back even before any of the SRS mechs came out from bottom. The lights were already there and ready to go. It was such a professional movement by them to get in there. And that could have been directly interfered with these Arctic Cheetahs being able to get out there. I just think these Arctic Cheetahs needed to get out there as soon as Epsilon started flashing, if not before. So at this point, you've got your Overwatch off the wall. They're getting chased down. They're losing a 3v2, and now then it becomes a 5v2, and they all still lose it because then 2 more EMP mechs join in, and it's just, it's so rough. It's rough. Once again, we are going to be playing out, though, because each drop 1 means, gives you a point, essentially, and that's going to decide your rankings in the qualifier, and then they will be having a, an actual knockout tournament at the end. So, once again, this is a charity stream, charity competition, really. I'm just kind of one facet of this overall thing, run by MercStar and Sace and the guys over there. But this charity stream is to benefit the research and awareness of multiple sclerosis. So definitely, we got a link in chat, and if you could find it in your hearts to donate to the cause, definitely toss it in there. We've had some pretty fantastic donations from the community so far, so we definitely want to keep that rolling and see what the community has. You know, I think MWO has one of the best communities pretty much anywhere, and even with like the Sarah's Jenner and other charity streams, we've just seen a lot of fantastic giving. So definitely keep that going and click on that link and give. That'd be fantastic. So here we got the last ditch 6v11 rush out the basement. They do split, sending the Timberwolf and Atlas up the right side, and then 4 mechs up the left, but the Arctic Cheetahs and the other lights wasted no time to get in there make quick work of the Timberwolf. And that's all she wrote. So, this was quite a long replay. It was a very long battle. And because of that, we are already dropping into our next map. We are heading into Canyon Network, Drop 4, which is a 3-3-3-3 matchup. So let's head in and take a look. I'm going to cut the replay short. Whoops. Real quick. Ripper X, 6K, Crackers Ball, and Ultimatum Gah. I can't read the rest of it. Thank you for the follow, and welcome to the crew. So, right off the bat, we're on the EMP side. We've got ER mediums, large pulse, ER large, large pulse. Healthy mixture from a lot of these mechs on the EMP side. Over here, we've got the Mauler, no doubt running some pretty brutal AC5 builds. Gotta love those Maulers. ER large Battlemaster. They're definitely going for some healthy range attacks here. EMP is getting up into their poke positions, not necessarily rushing Theta with any urgency. Got a quick draw Solitude way up in the back, tossing ERs from the distance. But they're just comfortable getting into positions and just trying to see where Rising Storm is headed. They have sent 2 lights to Kappa. Rising Storm is kind of moving towards Kappa. But let's see if they can get a jump on this guy. We got the little light pack going. Aduevo gets the fuck out of there. They're going to take Kappa back, which is good. But they didn't deal too much damage to the 2 lights over here. In the meantime, 3 mechs now, under 90% for Rising Storm on the initial trades. Let's just quick take a look at what kind of builds we're working with over here. We've got the Stalker 4N, looks like ER large. Some might say that maybe like a 3H would have worked better for the extreme ranges. Oh, he's running the 6 large lasers, never mind. So he's using that traditional 4N, but unfortunately doesn't quite have the same reach. 4 ER large Battlemaster, ER medium large Pulse Gauss, just a healthy mix. ER large Timberwolf, quite a bit of burn on there. 2 Stalker 4Ns, and Vonka goes down in the Battlemaster. So these trades aren't going too well for Rising Storm currently. They have done some damage to the Heimdallite in the Timberwolf here. And these guys are now actually moving up to kind of get early brawl distance here. Really getting in their faces. We'll see whether or not that close-in action. Heimdallite's running PPCs. ER PPC Gauss. Very slick. You can see he did take a lot of CT damage, though. It won't take too much to kill him if he gets jumped on, but he's got the benefit of his teammates swarming around the Rising Storm position. They are kind of in an emergency fallback at this point. They're leaving their Stalkers behind, they're leaving their Eben Jag behind, and unfortunately they're going to get kind of picked away on the corners here. Not sure what Rising Storm is going to be able to do to kind of pull back from this one. Percentages moving heavily in favor of Imperial. Everyone just seems to be placing their shots very well here. So Vorpal just can't really do much, but we got some jump jetting mechs taking some spot shots on him. 3 down for Rising Storm. They have now breached over and are cleaning up this final Stalker. One of the other Stalkers is down in the pit. They're going to run up on the Blackjack. He is down from range. Those brutal AC5s are just so difficult to contend with. Anybody doesn't like laser vomit, there you go. 5 AC5s and a Mauler. Goodness gracious. So the Firestarter appears to be stuck on a rock and then got legged. So unfortunate for him. And at this point, it's easy cleanup for Imperial. Fortunately, once again, kind of a no contest match. They did do a lot of spread damage to Imperial, but it's very difficult to focus fire in these type of poke matches because anybody who takes anywhere near any specific damage or significant damage can just as easily step back and then filter to the back and allow their teammates to tank for them. So a lot of that, I think, had to do with EMP doing a really good job. Anytime somebody got a little bit hurt, just back them up, let somebody else take your place. Next man up, let him tank for a bit. Very well done by EMP yet again. Once again, Proton, the goddamn master, rocking 532 in that Mauler. Absolutely brutal. That time Cobran didn't even get a chance to do anything. He was probably playing a role, sitting out watching a corner somewhere or playing the points, doing his job. Can't fault him for that. So while I wait for the replay to queue up here, let me just take a quick look at chat. Thank you, Sace, for clarifying stuff with the charity. Definitely a good thing you're doing. So most of those guys are still talking about what happened in HPG. This was a relatively quick match on Canyon, so just now seeing the match starting. So you actually, since I'm live watching my replay, that means right now you guys are watching the match live. So good stuff. So since that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and do another premium time giveaway. Let's do that right now. Reload the names. This loads everybody that's in chat today. And all you got to do is say at some point whether you're here and you will be a winner. Alright, here we go. XX Sola XX, congratulations, you are the winner. Say something in chat as soon as you hear this. Let us know that you're there, and we will toss you some codes. Awesome. Alright, well, let's go check the replay while we wait for everybody to group up. Let's go ahead and back it up a little bit here. Yeah, first thing I saw, we had that little skirmish on Kappa. They got out relatively unscathed. Good, solid, light movement, light play by Imperial there. You know, they got the Kappa. I don't think necessarily Rising Storm's movements were based on Kappa being taken, at least from the bulk of their guys. But you know, it really did kind of establish the firing lanes, and this one rock you're fighting around is very tough rock, especially when EMP can spread out and hit you from so many different angles. And then they got aggressive and were able to move up. Look at the chained airstrikes here too. Some of them aren't making their hits, but still. They're laying that stuff. There's another one. They're just laying it in there, laying it in there. Constant explosions. Just really good. Even if they don't hit, it's demoralizing just seeing explosion after explosion from just constant airstrikes. They're using everything in their arsenal to get an edge. And once you got an edge, it's really hard to come down or lose it. So then Heimdallite in his Gauss PPC, ER PPC, gets right up in their faces and just starts popping point blank into anything he sees. Playing his corners very tough. since Rising Storm's back on its heels, they can't really push him and finish him off. So he's got the advantage of just being able to either not peek or just take a step back and remain relatively untouched. It's extremely difficult to counter that when you don't have control over your corner. You're backing around. And I'm not saying that backing around is a bad thing to do, because at that point that's all you can do. You can't just stand your ground there or you're just going to get picked off. It's just once you get to that point, it's easy to feel really freaking hopeless, because it's so hard to come back from that backwards momentum, and then it just takes a little bit for them to just swarm and finish everybody off. Was definitely hoping that Rising Storm would have a little bit better of a showing today, but I think EMP definitely came to play, and play they are. They're playing extremely well. I'm not seeing any of their guys making really any mistakes whatsoever. And this is the kind of game where one pilot, even Proton's doing a lot of damage, but even Proton alone isn't the one who's winning these matches. However, it only takes one pilot to really screw things. I'm not going to point out anybody, because it's just been a series of what I guess you could call mistakes, but somebody who gets caught out, gets owned, gets a lot of early damage on them, shit like that. Just, it's easy for people that make mistakes to cause a loss, and we're seeing it pretty consistently here, unfortunately. So both teams are almost readied up, so we can pop over. It's not Canyon Network, because we are actually heading into drop 5. So let's give the win there. Tourmaline Desert and drop 5. This is a heavy match. We're rolling Tourmaline Desert with 800 to 825 tons. That's quite a bit. In the open desert, I mean, I think this is going to slow shit down a little bit. Similar to what we saw in Canyon Network. Things did slow down a little bit. Probably going to slow down a little bit more here. Check PM on Twitch. Let me take a look. I was in the dashboard, so PMs weren't up. How long ago was that? He's giving me a little bit of early insight into what's gonna happen here, so I think Chad is kind of agreeing with me here. If I'm transcoding, that's pretty cool. Awesome. Pretty good showing tonight. 87 of you. Oh, just jumped up to 94. Awesome. Good to hear. Glad to have all of you guys. Definitely, if you enjoy any sort of competitive shoutcasting, or even just watching me dick around and shoot at stuff occasionally, feel free to toss me a follow. We will be... Hopefully I'll get MD back at some point. And it makes the conversation a lot easier having a co-streamer. So this is my first time shoutcasting without a number 2, so I can feel it's different. So it'll be nice to have him back. Hurry back from your stupid convention, MD. God. But yeah, good stuff. Give me a follow. I'm also streaming on something called Beam.pro, which is a new streaming community. Just started up in January. It's kind of interesting. I kind of like it. I hope the community grows on there, because it's only got like a 3-second stream delay, so when I'm shooting mechs and shit, I can have a conversation with somebody in chat. It's not like I talk and then we wait 15 seconds for you to reply, and then you wait 15 seconds for me to reply. It really slows shit down. So a 3-second delay is pretty fun, and I've had a lot of really good conversations with people in the Beam.Pro. So I am actually streaming there right now. Actually, you can go take a look if you want. Beam.Pro/BanditB17. Obviously, we're still on a 5-minute delay because of the match, but you can kind of go see what the quality looks like, and you actually have the option, even though I'm not a partnered streamer, to change the stream quality. So it's really friendly to people who have internet issues or lower bandwidth and stuff like that. So it's pretty slick. So yeah, definitely give them a look. Mostly Minecraft streamers and stuff over there right now, but the only way the community is going to grow is if people like what they have to offer over Twitch. So right off the bat, we got all these assaults here. We are on the Rising Storm side this time. ER large, 3 H's, ER large Battlemaster, ER large Battlemaster. Rising Storm definitely going for the ER large game. Now, I want to get over here real quick because they just fired up, and if I've played this map enough, Conquest, this battle starts very quick. So I'm actually going to hop over here and watch this exchange on this corner. These guys spawn very close together. Massive spamming across the way. Seleth in the Battlemaster on the opposite side took quite a few hits. That seemed to be a good trade victory for Rising Storm. Let's see if they can carry that momentum, dropping him down to 77% now. I'm actually going to go look to see how well he spread that damage. So we've got Seleth over here in the Battlemaster. He's got the 2 adders supporting him. Headshot for Seleth. That's interesting. In this situation, though, you would almost rather have had that damage to the CT because it could have potentially opened it with how damaged that is. But either way, not too bad on the hits there. Getting some good crossfire trades. So far, going pretty well for Rising Storm, but they need to keep it up. If EMP makes a change here, which they got their planners kind of moving up tight, if they make a change, it all comes down to how well Rising Storm responds to it. Wispy and the Arctic Cheetah, he's going to play this corner really tight here. We're going to see some really good exchanges from this guy. Surprise, right to the chest. Got out 93, dropped him down to 91, so not a bad exchange there. But just knowing that that light's on the corner starts to freak you out, man. You can't just ignore him anymore. It makes you not want to peek as far, and then the rest of your team's able to move up. Here comes Heimdallite. He's going to toss that Gauss PPC right back into that Blackjack. He is taking a little bit of scratch from the Overwatch from Mad Edge in the BJ3 up on the Spire, but and I think Matt kind of saved his bros there a little bit, getting that shot on target. So now Heimdallite's, well, shit, I got to get the hell out of there. He can't just work that anymore. So good job by Matt. Good heads-up play to get that vision and get Heimdallite to, at the very least, back up. But now Heimdallite's paying attention to the other direction. These guys are still playing relatively timid, and that's going to start spinning things. While this was happening, because I was so busy talking about all that shit going on, the far side where we started, we actually did, in fact, see or hear or watch Seleth die in the Battlemaster, and then they actually were able to work down another Battlemaster all the way the hell back here, and the adder. So very impressive work there by Rising Storm to seal the deal on 3 pretty important mechs, or at least 2 very important mechs. Gonna go look at what Proton's got to offer here. What the fuck is that? Two medium lasers, a PPC, AC2, AC5, AC5, and Gauss. Hot new meta, guys? Oh, now you get to hear the, that wonderful Mech Warrior 3 sound pack. Alright, well that's freaking weird. Let's hop out of there. So he's actually charging up at this point. There's still only the 3 dead for Imperial. Rising Storm now getting kind of chased around by Heimdallite. He's down to 62, but now they're forced out in the open. They're playing kind of a scattered power position here, just shooting any which way they can, but they have no cover here, and they're going to start getting worked down. We just saw Wraithfire go down in the Timberwolf. Not many places these guys out in the open here can go. They're going to have to pick a direction to go. This is not a power position when you're this spread out and can't land your shit on target. It's just a systematic killing of each of these mechs. That's rough. That's a good way to lose the lead there. Heimdallite forcing their hand and getting them out in the open was definitely a very solid maneuver. But just watching these guys die on their retreat, that hurts. That hurts. That's painful to watch. They did manage to take down a couple EMP mechs, though, in the process. Heimdallite did eventually go down, and they were able to take another one down on the side here. Solitude. While all that was happening, they have a little Stormcrow group coming around the backside, so these guys can make a difference here. They are pretty beat up, but they did take down a quick draw. They're not out of this yet by any means. If these Stormcrows can do something while this exchange is going on, that's going to be huge. Carnage is looking out for them, but he has no clue where they are, and they are taking the wide way around and getting some good shots into the backside. There goes the adder. That's looking pretty damn good at this point, but looking at the percentages, this could easily go in either way. This ambush from the Stormcrows, though, definitely doing a lot of work. A lot of work. Let's see if Antonius is a good angle on the Stalker. He's down to 45%. Imminent's going to cross his path. Can get another good shot. But he's shut down. No! Antonius goes down to a bad overheat. Got a little greedy there, and that's a good way to lose it. 5v5 is where we're at, gentlemen. We've got the one remaining Stormcrow, Salama, working around. He needs to get a really good shot on that Hellbringer, who most likely had seismic and saw you coming. And Salama does go down. Down to 3 for Rising Storm against 4. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's hurt. Let's see if these guys have really any meaningful weapons to work with. 4 ER largest still. And here comes Wispy in the Arctic Cheetah. He could seal the deal for Imperial here, all alone, really. Just playing that corner tight enough. Really short burn times is, unless he makes a horrible mistake. It looks like they've recalled him. These 3 remaining mechs have a pretty good sight spread. However, here's the problem. We're playing Conquest. Imperial has a really good lead, and Rising Storm has no light mechs left. They need to kill Wispy. If they don't kill Wispy at the very least, he could always just run away and win it on caps. Rising Storm, you guys need to make a move, man. You need to win this. Oh, Hellbringer goes down to Wispy. Like I said before, Arctic Cheetah, short burn times, running that corner really tight. ER large is very hard to really fight against that. Let's see what the quality of his mech is. Open shoulder, but it's an Arctic Cheetah. He can survive that. He still has all of his weapons. The clock is ticking, gentlemen. Vorpal protecting that shoulder. Come on, you gotta get him! You gotta get him! You gotta take the shot! Come on! Good spread by Wispy. And at the very least, this one's going to caps. Unless somebody makes a big mistake, this one's going to caps. And we've already got a runner all the way across the map going to Gamma. That's going to definitely be a win for EMP. Hard fought. Rising Storm was looking pretty good, but that charge across this open field here cost them dearly. Look at all these dead mechs over there. Brutal. It was well played, though. This was definitely their best match. Best showing out of everything. Good effort. Proton in his fucked up build, man. What the hell is that? Oh, I gotta get in his cockpit again. Oh, he goes down! And it's done on caps. Close one. I guess you could say that was a close one. 2 incredibly very hurt mechs for Imperial. Playing the caps smartly. Got out of dodge. Well played. And Proton still does a shitload of damage in such a weird-ass build. What the fuck? New meta, guys. I hope you're paying attention. New meta. So, definitely an interesting series, to say the least. Rising Storm definitely started getting their shit together towards the end there on Tourmaline Desert, but Too little too late, unfortunately, and still didn't have enough to seal the deal. But very good effort by them, and like I said, they very well could still be a top 3 team in their group and end up in the finals. So they need to come away with this. I mean, they don't lose anything for losing 5-0 as long as they still make the finals. Not that big of a deal, you know. I don't think I don't know how they're going to do seeding. I don't think seeding is really going to matter when you only got 6 teams fighting against each other. They have the opportunity to come away with I guess a better understanding of what they're up against, and they're going to have to do their best to come up with something new here. But a lot of good teams fighting in the MercStar Invitational. Once again, charity event. Go donate, guys. Seriously. But before I get to the replay, let's do one last giveaway. Load the names. Kill the mods. And let's run it. Congratulations, Darth Peanut MWO. You are today's winner. Say something, Chad, as soon as you see this, and we will send it over to you. In the meantime, Doozy84, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the crew. Definitely give me a follow if you guys enjoy shoutcasting, MWO, or just in general. Big Shooty Stompy Max as I run around shooting at things. Toss me a follow, and then you'll get notifications when I am streaming. And I like to host a lot of really cool people too, so definitely watch your host screen. I try to pick the cool guys. So, awesome. Well, let's go to the replay. It's kind of a long one. Let's back it up a bit. So we had that initial exchange. Oh, we're watching Proton's joke build. I guess he freaking carried in it, so I guess you can't call it a joke build. Holy shit. I can't believe he had enough ammo all the way to the end of the match. That was a good exchange by Rising Storm, though, right off the bat against that opposite lance across Epsilon. That was a good exchange. They did come away with the lead. But we're going to see this charge across the middle. This looked bad. This looked really bad. I mean, the sense of urgency of some of these guys to get out of there was just not there. I don't think they realized that, hey, my escape plan is not here. I've got to go across all this terrain to get out. They should have been moving from the very start. Just systematic, one at a time. They're always going for the furthest mech just to try and get him down and just... Oh, man. That's harsh. But, even still, they lost the lead, but they had those two... They didn't even really lose the lead. They had the two Stormcrows running around in the backside doing work. Unfortunately, they took a lot of damage in the process of working against Solitude in the quick draw, but they were able to do some work. It could have gone in their favor if those two stayed alive. That bad shutdown by Valkyrie is really what... I think that was Valkyrie. No. It was Salama and Antonius Prime. Yeah, that bad shutdown that got him killed. Hard to say what state he was in at that point, but... Even just staying alive for a little bit longer could have made a huge difference with how hurt all of these guys were. Salama doing some work on this side, taking a little bit of damage as well, but getting some good trades in. And then Antonios makes that desperate shot at the crossing Hellbringer. And there it goes. Good response, noticing that he shut down, capitalizing on it, and ends it right there. Salama then outnumbered, and I'm pretty sure the Hellbringer is watching the seismic, knew he was coming around, took the initiative on him, and took care of business. So then we've got ourselves a 3v4. That Arctic Cheetah was bad news bears for these guys right off the bat. I honestly think Wispy played it very safe because he is a light mech and is kind of the trump card in a conquest match like this, so he was playing passively. Nothing wrong with that. However, the state that these mechs are in, I do feel that he probably could have just finished it right there. Not saying he did anything wrong, but with the quick peaks that he can execute and only take half burn from ER larges, I think he could have easily just systematically taken them out one by one and finished it a lot quicker. But the game was already sealed. Best to do the smart play, protect yourself, and once the ticker gets to the point where it's a guaranteed win, then go ahead and have fun and take your shots. Good shot on J-bombs there. Very close match, though. Very close match. Definitely would have liked to see a lot more of this throughout the series, as opposed to just at the end. But like I said, these guys got to kind of learn each other. Or Rising Storm needs to learn how EMP plays and find a way to counter it. Right there, you need to be shooting him instead of twisting, dude. He's running away. Missed opportunities. Now they finally start shooting at him, but too little too late. And he gets away with both shoulders being one shot. And then, to top it all off, you got Proton in that crazy-ass build to seal the deal. Peekaboo. That's just that pestering AC2 makes a lot more noise than anything, but it's a good way to finish someone off. Oh, Proton goes down. But that's all she wrote. Take one last look at the scoreboard, and then we'll say our goodbyes. So currently I don't have any shoutcasts scheduled as of right now, but I got to go ahead and hit up the scheduling threads to find what we're going to cast next. We're definitely going to be doing another one of these MercStar Invitational matches. Looking forward to showcasing some more big powerhouse teams here. Should be good stuff. And then, of course, MRBC Season 7 signups are currently underway, so if you have a team and you're thinking about signing up, definitely take the time to go sign your team up. MRBC is very good at being nice to newer teams because it is a divisional layout, so you fight new teams at the bottom and work your way up as the seasons go on. So this isn't, you're not going to be playing Imperial or Seraphim Rising Storm or anything like that for a while. So if you're liking comp and you want to learn and become better as a team, go sign up. Sign-ups close, I think, in like 9 days, so get your stuff in there, guys. Liamer, Hydrocarbon 82, and Mark Trader, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the crew. And that'll be all she wrote for this shoutcast. Hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Definitely stop by again. We'll be definitely doing more of these. And go donate to the cause. I know you guys can do it. Go help the charity out. I might, after the 5-minute delay works its way out, I might do some drops. So I might actually pop back on here. So if you want to stick around and watch me blow some shit up, feel free. Otherwise, thank you all for coming by. Catch you guys later.
play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, is going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griffin.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us, right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the f*** out.